By the way, a lot of these questions are related to that alcohol harm study, and we're talking about over-serving, overcrowding, that kind of stuff. You can go to this website, hbneighborhood.org, and right at the top it says the HBNA newsletter. Within that newsletter are links to YouTube, and on that there are promotional videos with the bars' names on it and everything, not bars and nightclubs, actually they're restaurants. And anyway, take a look at those videos, you can see whether they're over-serving or overcrowding. It gives you a chance, instead of going on a police ride-along, you can just click it on YouTube and there it is. Okay, next question has to do with our current and future zoning. Actually, 2 years ago, I asked this similar type of question, and I kind of misstated. I said that we could have tattoo parlors in Hermosa Beach, and 2 years ago, that was not true. You could not have tattoo parlors, but 2 years hence, now we have them. So anyway, I'm talking about adult-oriented businesses. For instance, nightclub cabarets. A cabaret, as defined in our Hermosa Beach Municipal Code, is basically a strip club. And they're legal, by the way. They're legal within our business code, and they require a CUP process. And also, we have pornography stores. We've added a few massage parlors. There are local cities, Redondo Beach and other cities, Torrance, have moratoriums on massage parlors. Anyway, so quick question, does the addition of new adult-oriented businesses near residential neighborhoods and schools benefit the city? Is there a net economic benefit to the city from adding more adult-oriented businesses? Haney?
I think the short answer is no. I think our city's general plan, which I know has not been updated in a long time, provides that one of the aspects of the general plan is that this is a family-friendly environment. I don't know how you can reconcile a family-friendly environment with an adult establishment. That said, if there is a legal requirement to allow adult establishments in the city, then we have to comply with what the legal requirements are. But is there an economic incentive to do that? I don't think there is, and I don't think the city should go out of its way to encourage adult establishments to come in and open up in our city. As far as the economic part of it, as I mentioned before in the answer to the last question, again, the revenue that the city generates from sales tax for many of these establishments is 7.2%, whereas our expenditures for public safety is 65%. So if we're bringing in adult establishments to the city, and that's generating another additional need for policing and police enforcement, I think that the net income would be negative rather than positive. And I think it's demonstrated that the adult establishments do have a secondary effect on the community around them, which will, by definition, decrease property values in the area. And the revenue that the city gets from the property taxes is actually 38%. So as our property values go down, that percentage of our budget goes down. So at the end of the day, we'd have a negative impact rather than a positive impact. Thank you.
Thanks, Haney. Steve?
Yeah, I really don't believe that these kind of businesses belong in and around schools or in residential areas. So for my money, I would not to see that happen. The one thing that I would question, okay, is if that was the case, would we be infringing on somebody's constitutional rights? That becomes a question mark when you look at a question like this. Okay, I don't believe the revenues would make a difference. Like I've stated before and earlier, I think that if we concentrated on raising revenues by fining everybody that breaks a law in our city, we would have enough money to run Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, and build new schools. That's it.
Thanks, Steve. Michael?
Al, thank you. I agree with what Steve said. I don't think that there's a direct economic benefit to the city by having, adult businesses near schools. That's, frankly, I'm not surprised. I'm not really even clear why we're talking about it. It seems so obvious to me. I do think, though, that to the point about First Amendment rights and the fact that we have needed to make room for tattoo parlors in town, I do think having 4 functional businesses that are following the rules, that are filling up stores that would otherwise be vacant, is a benefit. But so that I'm clear, I'm not advocating that we be courting adult businesses in town. I mean, I think that we have the max already that we need with the smoke shops we have and the other shops. I wanted to say one last thing about the last question, because it's a key point about by right, if you don't mind, Al.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just take 20 seconds. It is incredibly unlikely that a new restaurant, especially a new restaurant with alcohol, will open in this town in a place that one already doesn't exist. The thing that actually really restricts it is parking. There's such a high requirement for parking that a restaurant, I'm trying to think of a retail store, I get my hair cut at Mark of Excellence on Pier Avenue. Mark of Excellence has a much smaller parking requirement than a restaurant would. That parking requirement will, for duration, prevent that location from becoming a restaurant. So it's easy to talk about all these restaurants having by right. The fact is, there's a handful of by right there's a handful of restaurants that could benefit from by right.
Can you summarize?
Now, yes, sure. But there's not going to be a new wave of restaurants opening. They just can't open in town because they can't provide the parking they need. That is actually a very clear restriction. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Pete?
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the previous question and answer one of Steve's comments about liquor stores. With the proposition of the city business license tax, I inserted in there that liquor stores, if they close by midnight, will pay a lesser business license tax than ones that stay open till 2 a.m. a.m. They'll pay probably twice as much. So we've made some pain. If you close early, you don't have to pay as much. If you stay open later, you're going to have to pay. So hopefully that'll curtail some of the sales of liquor. As far as the adult businesses, this was a question that the city, I remember when I was on the planning commission 16 years ago, the tattoos came up and it went on and on and on. But we went to court, and the court overruled us and said, you know, sorry, you guys can't pick what kind of businesses you want in your community. So hence we have 4. I've not seen any reports that they've been a bad citizen. I know we have CUPs and limits and restrictions on their daily operations. So if they break those, we can come in and close them down. Yeah, we receive a business license tax, but that's not worth the effort that we put into to fight it. There again, if people don't like them, as I remember there was a store going to go in at the corner of 8th and the highway next to the other adult store, and people went up and protested, and they went away. So really, by citizens taking that action, even though the court says you have to allow them, a lot of times landlords and even businesses say, I'm going to go somewhere else. But we keep losing these First Amendment things in the court, and sometimes it surprises the council that we've lost these, and it's almost like going to the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission doesn't care if you have crime on your beach. You got to keep it open 24/7.
Thanks,
They
Pete.
could care less. Same thing. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, last question, and then we'll go to closing statements. The public safety budget, which is within our the budget of the city, yearly budget, that includes the Hermosa Beach Police Department and Hermosa Beach Fire Department, makes up about 65% of the city's yearly budget. The Hermosa Beach Police Department is operating with around 5 to 6 less police officer positions due to budget cuts. The Hermosa Beach Fire Department also recently lost 3 firefighter positions due to budget cuts. What are your top priorities for public safety